Well, this is Basic Gospel, and we just have a special treat for you today, the continuing story of the Stilwells, Shannon and Sarah, and their adoption of Maxim. And today we get to meet Maxim, and he's with us in studio right now, and just a delightful young man. I had the opportunity to meet him last night for the first time, full of personality, and as you can see, is one good-looking kid. So, Maxim, so glad to have you with us today, and so that you can help tell the story. So we're going to pick up kind of where we left off. So you guys are in Ukraine. You've made it there. You've had to overcome some obstacles as far as flights are concerned. You go to Kiev and then travel to Odessa, and you're shown a picture of Maxim, and they tell you this is your kid. So. Yeah. Tell us about that first day that you got to meet him. How old was he at that particular time? And let's just tell the story of Maxim and how you fell in love with him.
Okay, so yeah, he's right. He was 2 years old. He had turned 2 in July, and we were there in September. And so he was just 2 years old, and we got to go and take him and have, the first day, I kind of remember just going and sitting at a little table, and we had brought some crayons and some books and a few different things. And at first he was a little standoffish, but he didn't know kind of what was going on. And then we would sit with him and bring these different things that he could do, and he quickly warmed up to us,
Just to go back to, on that, for adopting kids in Ukraine, if they're under 5, they have to have some sort of special need, and so we were told that Maxim had hepatitis B. So hepatitis B. So we had learned that there's ways of treating that. So we said we were okay with it. That was that some of the luggage that came with him, but we were willing to. And we knew God could get us through it.
Yes, indeed. Well, y'all have been seeing that all along, just stepping out of your comfort zone and saying, "Hey, we're going to entrust ourselves to you, Lord," and. Experience the freedom of what that looks like, and that's what this whole trip was about. It was kind of as far as your own personal relationship with the Lord, it was a real freeing experience, wasn't it?
Amen.
Yes, it was.
It was an adventure. I've said that many times, but it was an adventure. And then we met this little guy, and just the whole process of God, warming up our heart, and through the adoption process, drawing him closer to us and helping him become a part of our family, and how that worked out. It started that day in September, and we got to visit him every day for twice a day for several weeks, and it was just an amazing time. We had the opportunity to come back, and we could have met him and then traveled back home and come back over there
for the court date.
But we decided to stay there. Sarah said, he's a young kid, and
it's going to be beneficial to us to be able to see him twice a day and to get to know him. Right. Because when we did take him with us and bring him back home on the plane, I was like, the more comfortable he is with us, the easier that transition is going to be as well.
Back, Boy, that's a mom. And
yes,
that's a mom's instinct. And,
getting to know him on his turf. We got to go into where he was comfortable, and we got to go in there twice a day and spend time with him and take him bananas and just really have that bond. And so many times
with him,
sure. Shannon and I've told Shannon before, I'm like, Maxim kind of got the bait and switch, because he had us all to himself for almost those whole 6 weeks while we were there, and then we bring him home and he has all these other siblings,
other brothers and
Sorry,
sisters
Maxim,
too.
you're not the only one after all. But he was the center of our attention while we were there, and it definitely helped with the bonding of him to us and transitioning him into our family.
Yeah. Well, what about with you, Shannon, that first meeting, and what were you sensing? What were you feeling on the inside? And were you nervous? Were you excited?
I wasn't very nervous. We'd made it to Ukraine, and that trip, like we told you, that 100 miles an hour the whole way. That was exciting. So we were glad to be alive. And I was excited to meet him, and
he was just the cutest kid.
He was so cute, and he was just so happy.
Yes, he was just
he just laughed.
A sweet soul, and still is just a sweet demeanor and happy kid, and doesn't get upset about too many things. But
Maxim, What do you remember? Do you remember them coming and visiting you, and what was that like?
I don't know.
Don't know.
You remember us visiting you?
No, I was
You
a
don't
baby.
You were too little, right?
But you've seen some of the videos.
Yes,
And,
and the car that we were riding.
and the trampoline that Daddy
Yeah.
used to bounce you on.
We got to
And,
play around the orphanage every day. That's
Mhm.
what we did. And there
Yeah.
was swing set and
Mhm.
little trampolines, and so we'd spend, what was it, 3.5 hours every day doing that. So it was a great bonding time for all three of us.
Then-
Bringing bananas.
Yeah.
That's when
He
we
really liked
loved-
bananas.
we
Yeah.
figured
Is that
out
still
he-
your favorite fruit? Do you like?
Not really.
No.
But only when I was a baby, I liked them.
Yeah.
He got he got Americanized really quickly.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did. Huh? How about that?
Yes.
Well, so 6 weeks over there, going every day, twice a day, building that bond. You have a court date. What was that? What was that like? Is that an efficient process over there? Is a lot of red tape that you have to cut through? Was there any doubt that this might not go through?
No, there wasn't any doubt. It wasn't going through as quickly as I wanted it to
Yes,
go.
Yeah.
there
That was
were
the only
roadblocks
problem.
along the way, and there were times that we kind of thought, "Oh my goodness, what's going on here? What's going to happen with this? How far is this going to set us back?" It wasn't ever really that we thought this isn't going to happen, but there were just times along the way that we thought, "Oh, how long are we going to have to leave our other kids at home without
Yes,
us?
yeah.
How long
Always in
is
the
this
back
going
of
to
the
take?"
mind,
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so you go through the court date. They stamp their seal of approval on everything, and
Yes.
now y'all are free to take them.
Well, at that time, they had a 10-day waiting period
Okay.
after the court date. So we just buckled up and hung on and kept going to visit him every day. And we were just anticipating the time that we would get to take him from
Custody
there.
of him.
Yes, that we took custody of him. So we waited those 10 days. And now, so we'll kind of tell you more when we talk more about Vadim and his adoption. But Maxim's adoption, it was a breeze. Everything kind of, looking back, now that we can see, it went very well. Vadim's, there were more things along the way. We had to wait even longer, and we did have to make 3 trips over there. And so they're totally different, but they were almost 5 years apart.
10 years.
5 years
5 years.
apart.
Uh,
It seems like 10, huh,
yes,
Maxim?
It might as well be, right. But, there were just, those things along the way that we were like, okay. But we didn't know at the time when we were doing Maxims that, man, it was good. It was
Went
only
really
a 10-day
well.
waiting period. And then with Vadim's, there was a 30-day waiting period
Wow.
that we had to do. So that's why we ended up actually coming back and then going back. But Maxim's went quite well, and then we actually took custody of him and then got to take him outside the orphan wall, the orphanage walls. And that was a big deal that day. I remember just thinking, my goodness, the things that God has for this kid.
His
going
whole
forward.
world is going to get
Yes,
so much
He
yes.
hadn't
bigger.
been outside the
Yes,
walls
that we know
that
of,
we know of, that anybody
unless
told
he
us
had
of
been
for like 2 years.
hospitalized, but we don't ever think that he
Right.
necessarily was. They had a doctor or whatever on staff
Right.
that would come there, and everything was just within.
Well,
those
isn't
walls.
that interesting how God is so concerned about each and every one of us that it doesn't matter where we are, God's eye is there, and he has something in mind for us. And here was Maxim, a little baby, 2 years old when you met him, and God already had him on his mind, and
Right.
kind of this huge story that was
Yeah.
going to unfold right before his very eyes. So y'all waited the 10 days. It's time to
Took
come back
custody of
to
him.
the United States.
Yes,
And what was that flight like, and what were those first couple of weeks and months like when Maxim was really a part of your family there in Midland?
Well, the flight was great. He was a trooper on the plane. We gave him an apple, and he
Yes.
slept. He just acted perfect. We were really worried that he was going to maybe get uncomfortable and cry, and just be unruly. But he was a perfect little boy.
We
He was
learned
awesome
that he
little
was
boy.
very independent. Like, he didn't
Yeah.
want us to help him with the apple. He wanted to do it all himself. He was very,
Yeah.
I guess, being there in
Yeah.
the environment that he was used to doing things or getting to do things by
Right.
himself, feed himself, and do everything on his
Like
own.
our
So he
little-
would get upset with us trying to help him, but
Like our
other
little
than that-
grandson says to us
Yes.
all the time, I do it. I do it.
Yes, exactly right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
So when we got home, though, we met the kids at the airport, and they were ready. I mean, they had brought us burritos and bananas for him, and they were ready to see him. And I just remember him embracing Simi, our oldest, and he just took to her like,
Oh, wow.
you know,
He'd
they
known
had
her for a
been.
long time.
Yes.
We had seen him on FaceTime
Yes,
and things,
we
but,
had.
but he just took to her, and it was like,
Wow.
Perfect.
Yes, he held.
Wow.
She held him, and
I bet that
It was-
airport
was
scene
bonding.
was pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
It was
it was
awesome.
because I mean, my gosh, us seeing our kids for the first time in 6 weeks and bringing him home, and we knew
friends
we were
and
just
family all there waiting for
Yes.
us. I mean, it was a special time.
Yeah.
It was
yes, it definitely was, and he was good. He's a great kid. He's been good.
A
From day
blessing,
one.
a gift
Day
from
one,
God.
day one. That's
is,
right.
is what
That's
what
right.
you say.
For sure.
For
sure.
Now, the story doesn't stop there, as you've already mentioned.
Yes.
You've adopted a second
Yes.
boy from
That's
from
right.
Ukraine, and so how did that happen?
So yeah, we get home with Maxim. That was
Well, it was
October
going back-
of 2015. Go
Except
ahead.
just going back to me being over there and kind of my story and my fear and everything, and being away from the U.S. Anybody who spoke English, if I heard them, I gravitated to them. And we were
Yes,
in our
that's
hotel
true.
in Odessa, and I heard some ladies speaking English, so I went over there to them, and we started talking to them, and we asked them what they were there for, and they were interviewing orphans for this hosting program.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked to them a little bit. I didn't think anything about the hosting program. I went on, and we went on with our day. Well, God, let me tell you, God had told us Sarah, and through the
Yes.
Facebook thing.
Yes, we became friends on Facebook, and I started following them, and they started, with this hosting program. We had never heard of a hosting program before. We were like, what is that? Tell us what that is all about. And they said, we come over here and we interview orphans, and then we take them over to the U.S. for Christmas, and then again, the different ones will come in the summertime and everything. And we were I was intrigued. And so that's why I guess I became friends with them on Facebook, and they started putting things on there like, oh, we still need host families for these kids for Christmas. And mind you, we had just landed with him in October, and then I start seeing all this on the Facebook feed that says, we still need families to host some of these kids, and now there's this many kids, now there's this many kids, and it would kind of go down. And so I remember it was a day in November.
I've been home just a few weeks.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
y'all hosted Vadim.
Well, I took my
That
phone
Christmas?
and I showed it to Shannon. I was like, can we host this kid for, Christmas? And he was like, we just got home with this one.
Here we go again.
Yes, we don't need, you don't just need to keep getting kids. What is this all about? And so,
Like I said, they're not tattoos. You don't have to
You
keep
don't
on
just
getting
keep-
more and more to fill that need. Yeah.
yes. So it took him a few days.
I thought about it, and I remember going to work, and I just remember somehow God told me through other people that I was talking to, said this is the right thing to do. So I said, yeah, let's do it. So that was in November.
Yeah, so God had put that on my heart, and I think, I was naive about it. I thought, we'll be able to just kiss this kid on the forehead and send him back after the hosting, and everything will be fine, and we'll just go on with our regularly scheduled program, and, things
Didn't
will be
quite
good.
work out that
Not
way,
so
did it?
much,
Yeah.
Not so much, yeah. So, so Vadim came. He ended up coming, I think, the middle of December that year, with 2015, right after we had gotten home with
And I
him.
want to put a plug in for this hosting program. Not a lot of people know about it, but you're talking about a wonderful adventure. You
Yeah,
can get out there and search and bring a
that's-
kid in. It's kind of like the
that's what-
exchange students.
Well,
but
they would say this is like a reverse mission. So instead of you going there, you bring
They
the
come to
kid
you.
here.
Right.
Yes, and Vadim knew zero English. So when he came the first time, he was 8 years old, knew zero English. Walked into our home. We picked him up at the airport, and that's when Andre, our friend Andre, kind of comes into it too. He was our friend that we met. He's from Ukraine, and he went with us to the airport and picked him up and could speak to him and everything, and helped kind of just tell him a little bit, like, you're going to be
Yeah.
okay, buddy. You know, these people are going to take you.
These people aren't crazy. They're going to be okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you're going to
And,
like
you
them.
know, he had been
Yeah.
traveling for, I think we calculated by like
36.
train and everything that like 36 hours this kid had
To
been
get there.
traveling to get to us.
Wow,
So he
Yes,
was-
by the time he got to, Midland. And
that's
when
quite
he
the
got there-
ordeal for an
yes,
8-year-old.
It was
And
after
never
Mid-
had, he'd never had
Never
flown,
been out of the
never had been out of
US.
his little community
Yeah.
that he had grown up in.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when he got there, I mean, we knew, obviously, we keep talking about this is a God thing and this is what God has done. But Vadim got there, and I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And he got there, and, we had just met him. We hadn't known him, an hour or two before he got to the house. And we were showing him, kind of around the house and trying to
All the
be
kids were
quiet. The
asleep,
kids were
yeah.
asleep, and we were showing him where they were sleeping and everything. And he was like, wait a minute. I gotta get something. And he went to his backpack, and he had just like some little granola bars that they had given him, probably traveling, the hosting agency when they got him or whatever, had given him some snacks and stuff. And he got a granola bar or a little whatever and went and put it under each one of the
Oh,
kids'
wow.
pillows.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that was-
we just knew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, God.
yes.
We were like, our heart for this kid,
Yeah. Y'all were done in right
Yes,
there.
right there. That's it. So quick. And so he stayed, and it was, I remember now looking back on that Christmas, it was so fun and just
Oh, yeah.
so many things, going on. New with Maxim, poor Maxim. He just gets there and, now he has 4 other siblings, and then we bring in Vadim, and, but it was so fun and just so,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know.
An adventure.
Life
fun
altering.
thing. Yes,
Oh, gosh,
yes.
Like you
chaos.
said, totally changed the trajectory of your life.
Definitely,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Our family thought we were crazy,
They-
and I guess
yeah.
we kind of are.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, the love of God is crazy
It
to the
is.
world,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yes.
And it's something that the world doesn't really fully understand, and they'll
Yes.
never understand it
Yeah.
until they experience it, and they can only experience it through the gospel, through the
Yeah.
good news of Jesus
Yes.
Christ. That's the love of God made known to us, and now y'all are
Absolutely.
getting to live it in
Yeah.
a way that's freeing and liberating and
And abundant.
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Very
So
Overflowing.
you talk a little
Overflowing.
bit, Shannon, about some of the fears and how while you were in Ukraine, you just
Right.
felt this liberty, this massive sense of freedom, and just
Yeah.
in trusting the Lord, not trying to control every day or
Yeah, it
what
was
was
a-
going to happen, just letting the Lord lead, letting the Lord be the Lord in this
Being
situation.
dependent on Him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my brother had called me at one point in time, and he could see that our time over there was going to be longer than what I had thought it would have been.
Stimulating.
So he said, He asked me, he said, "Do you feel trapped?" And I said, "No." I didn't want to tell him, "No, I'm on vacation, man. You're taking
Yeah.
care of my kids." I didn't tell him that. I said, "No, I
Yeah.
don't feel trapped."
Mm-hmm.
But when I got back home to the comforts of my home and where I can depend upon myself, that trapped feeling came back. And so I'll tell everybody, I felt more trapped once I returned home to where I was under control, theoretically. I was much more in bondage there than I was,
In Ukraine.
on the
Yeah.
other side of the
Yeah.
world, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things that is so hard for us as humans to learn how to really entrust ourselves to the
Yes.
one who loves us and gave himself for us. I mean, that's what the Christian life is all about. But we humans like to be in control. We like to kind of know what's going to happen tomorrow and a week from now and a month from now.
Where
But
we're going
we don't really
and-
have that capability, but we think we do.
I just think of Romans 12, where it talks about offering your body as a living sacrifice.
Yes.
That's in essence what we did, and just whatever, God. I remember thinking one time, this is not even my life.
Yeah.
Let's do whatever. Yeah, let's go adopt a kid, and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, and that offering yourself as a living sacrifice, that renewal of the mind by the Holy Spirit, it kind of the end result of that is that you can see that God's will is good and pleasing and perfect for you,
Yes.
and you get the sense of that. It's like, yeah,
Right.
God isn't gonna take us to a cliff and make us jump over. No, He's got something good. He's
Yeah.
got
Something exciting.
yeah, something
Mhm.
exciting for us. And
Exactly right.
so when you step out, you get to see that. You really get to see that up close and personal.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, this is what this Christian life is all about.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's meet Vadim and tell a little bit more of his story, and then we can meet the whole family. So let's take a quick break, and we'll come right back. So this is Basic Gospel. We're telling the story of Sarah and Shannon Stilwell about their adoption of Maxim and their second adoption of Vadim. And Vadim, we welcome you to the Basic Gospel Studios. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello.
So we ended our last segment talking about how y'all got involved in a hosting program. And so there's opportunities for families out there, if that's something that's on their heart and mind, to host some children from Ukraine at Christmas and maybe during the summer. And it's a great opportunity to minister to somebody, to allow the love of God to pour out into the life of a person who needs it. And so y'all did that with Vadim, and that was just right after you adopted Maxim. You brought him back in October, and in November y'all are saying, hey, can we host this? You know, Sarah's asking the question, and Shannon, you went along with it.
Went along with it somehow, yeah.
Yeah. So Vadim traveled 36 hours by plane and train and automobiles,
right.
everything.
Yes.
But you made it over. And Vadim, what was that experience like? What was it like traveling? What was it like meeting Shannon and Sarah and all the kids?
Well, first, when I was flying in an airplane was that 10-hour one over ocean. It was boring.
It was really boring.
I couldn't sit on my seat.
Yeah.
I would just go do something like fun, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
So then I flew. Then the first time was not kind of boring because that was my first time. It was fun. Then the second time it was kind of boring. Yeah. So when I first time came, they met me, and I saw Andre, and then he speak to me, and stuff. Then like I came home. Then I came home, and then like to them, and then he taught me, like he showed me what to do, where like stuff.
Who did?
You. So you showed me like to do stuff.
Take a shower.
Yeah.
How to use toilet paper.
Yeah.
The charades. There
Yes.
were charades and taking a shower. He was like, this one's for your hair. This one's for your body. Here's
Yeah,
your
because we couldn't
towel."
speak.
We had
Right.
to figure out how to communicate early on.
So and then, then when I came in the first time, it was like a Christmas tree. It was really beautiful and stuff. So I came, and then I saw Simi, Shiloh. They were in bed, and they walked up and gave me a hug. And then they went back to bed. And then I had like a room, like it was Bluey's, my brother's room. And then we had like a together room, but I was sleeping in it before. So we were just sleeping and stuff, like, and playing video games. We had video game stuff. So when I woke up the first time, then, we went to do like stuff. We would give free snacks to people.
Oh, that was it was around Christmas time, the first hosting.
Oh yeah,
so
we went to the
our
mall and gave
church
out waters.
would give
yeah.
out
Yeah.
waters and just snacks and stuff at the mall. So he remembers that from the very first time. I mean, he was 8 years old, and
Yeah,
he went
how
with
awesome.
us, and we gave out waters and snacks.
And he wasn't
to
scared.
The,
He'd
to
walk
the
up
weary.
and just hand people
Yeah.
water.
Yes, and
Take
they
this.
would say no, thank you, and he'd be like, nope, you're taking it.
Yeah.
you
Not
get this
understandable,
water.
right?
You just take it and
Yeah.
go. And
Well,
so,
both Maxim and Vadim, you guys are just full of personality, and I bet y'all are fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For sure. For sure.
then, like, we went to where called it was there at that mall. It was the mall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was mall time, and then it was like we're called those things we ride on. remember?
Oh, those little, it was a toy that they had set up at the mall that the kids could ride on. Is that what you're talking
It was not
about?
a toy. It was like something we're called.
Like a ride-on
Uh,
animal.
No, that thing that had wheels and you get to just ride on it. We had a blue one, and girls got a red one.
Oh, like a hoverboard. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
What's a
hoverboard.
hover?
So we got that, and then so we saw it. So and then she went, "Do you want that?" And then we said, "I don't know." It was like $100 for one of them. And it was really cool. You get to ride on it and
Yes.
stuff. So we got it for Christmas from Santa, and then we went like front of the mall that way, and then we got like those animals to ride on. It was really fun, and then so we went back home, and I asked for a car and stuff, a toy car for Santa, and I got like a lot of presents,
Wow.
like way
How,
too much.
how awesome for you.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is just
I want an
wonderful.
RC car.
So, Shannon, talk to us a little bit about. So y'all do this, and there's a time that he has to go back to Ukraine, and
Yes.
you know how difficult was that to say
Like
goodbye?
Sarah said, she was expecting just to be able to bring him over here. We'd show him the love of a family, kiss him, and just put him on the plane and go back. Well, it didn't happen that way. It was every time. I think we hosted him 7 times, and every time we sent him back, it was our heart was ripped out. And I didn't expect that either. But I remember a lot of times we had to bring him back here to Dallas, and we'd have fun, and then we'd have to go to the airport, and everybody you knew it was coming, and you could feel that moment, and we'd send him off. He'd be crying, everybody'd be crying. And we said, "Oh my gosh, we got to adopt this kid," but we found out he wasn't adoptable, so which
wasn't
really hurt us, really hurt Sarah especially. But we were Sarah more so than me was just.
So why was that? Why was
I
he
just
not on
remember-
the adoption list?
Well, so when you host, you quickly learn about all these things. So they'll tell you, some of these kids are available for adoption, and you can pursue them for adoption, but some of them are not available. Some of them are only being hosted so they can come over here and have, their eyes checked and their teeth checked, and some of the things that they don't necessarily have for the orphans there in Ukraine. And so they told us early on he's not available for adoption. He still had his mother was actually still had some sort of rights to him there in Ukraine. And so we do early on that that was the case, but God was just he was faithful, and he was there for me, and he just said, this is the kid for you, and I remember going and making one trip to Ukraine. Just a friend of mine and I went and talked to one of the main facilitators there, and he was like, look, this kid's not available, he's never going to be available, but how about this other kid, and showed me another picture, and I was like, that's fine, I'll just wait, and I'll see what God does and how he opens up these doors, and if he opens up these doors, then we'll be ready to walk through.
And sure enough, he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
He
one of the times that we sent Vadim back, and sending him over there sending him back was horrible. And Sarah said, "We'll come see you."
Yes.
So this one was spring break, and we took the whole family to
That's
Ukraine
true.
to go see Vadim, and we rode
sure
across
did.
the country on a train. All of including Maxim, and
Yes. We took him back to his orphanage, actually, when we went back.
Wow.
that
Yeah, we
time. Yes, we
so,
went back
but
and
we
saw
showed
them.
up at Vadim's orphanage, and his mother was there. It was the
Yes.
he
These are
came
the
to
things
see him
that,
like she'd come like once a year to see him or something, and she happened to be there on that date, and they
Yes.
said, "Would you like to meet her?" And we said, "Sure, we'd love to meet her."
yeah.
We just wanted to.
These are
Yeah.
the kinds of things that just happen that there's no explanation.
None whatsoever,
Yeah,
other
because
than God
we couldn't have
orchestrating.
planned that,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
We could not have planned it that way.
Well, that meeting went well.
Well,
with
she
the-
wasn't very happy to see us. I don't think. But
Yeah.
we couldn't speak, and we
She
didn't.
was just shy.
Yeah, maybe a little
Yes.
shy, but we
Yes.
just. I just remember going to her and just taking her by the face and
Yes,
just telling her,
Shannon
"Look,
was-
we're not trying to take your kid away from you.
Yes.
We love your kid, we love you, and we just
wanna
prayed
give
with
them-
her, and she didn't understand what we were saying, but the Spirit of God was,
Yeah.
I'm sure it did the work, and
Yes.
so we did that, and we left, and then a week later, they called
it was
us and
maybe
said
that Monday. I
Yeah.
think we left there on a Thursday, and they were calling us on Monday saying she's
She
willing
relinquished her
to,
rights.
Yes, she's willing
Yeah.
to sign the papers for
Wow.
him to be
Wow.
available to you because she
But
likes
just
your
to you.
family. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Now, how
That's
specific is that
Yes.
God would say, just for you,
Right.
Yes.
just for you, not for anybody else, just for you.
Right.
Wow. That
Right.
is that's the love of God. That's
Yes.
how he works. So y'all went through that process again when
Yes.
she made him available.
We
And
did.
this time it took a little bit longer. There were more obstacles, more things to
Yes,
overcome.
the paperwork to get
It took
done
us
is
a lot longer.
always
We had 5 kids now, and
Yes.
everything was busy, and it just we had goals of having everything ready, like by the first of the summer. I don't remember. This was, I guess, last year, 2019. We wanted to have everything ready by the summer so that we could go get him in the summer and bring him back, and he could start school, in the fall of 19. Well, it didn't happen that way.
No.
We made our first trip over to Ukraine to start the process formally over there in December of 19, and it just it took a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then y'all went back in February of
Yes,
2020.
We had to make 3 trips for him. So
Right.
Maxim's trip was one long time for 6 weeks, and then Vadim's trip we had to go over, and we did the first initial meeting at the SDA or whatever it was called at that time, and went and met him and said yes, we want to pursue and go forward with this one. And so then they sent us back because they said, oh, your court date's not going to be for a month. And so
we
we
couldn't stay
said,
over there a month.
yeah,
then.
we
Yeah.
knew that this process was going to be longer, and it was a different region and a different area. So a different judge, every place you go, you hear so many adoption stories now, and of course ours, it rings true as well, that they're just so different. The different areas, the different regions, the different judges will do different things. So we wanted to ask the judge, when we went to court, if she would allow him to not do the 30 days at the end. But so
Waiting period.
Yes,
after
Right,
the waiting
right.
period.
The
And that's when
adoption
we
had
went
been
back. Did we go back in January? Yes. Court was in January,
Right.
I believe.
In January, we prayed about it. We had everybody praying. We just knew
Yes.
that the judge was going to see it our way, and we got up there.
Even
and
Vadim stood up
Vadim
in
spoke,
his
yeah.
nice suit, and he asked the judge. He was like, I want to go with my family right away."
Yeah.
But that just wasn't the case.
So it was
She-
another one of those goodbyes. I was
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, we had
Yes,
to leave him.
leaving him again.
We adopted him. It was they gave their approval, and then immediately he was drug away back
Yeah.
to the orphanage
Right when
where
we
he-
left
yeah.
the court. The
To wait
courthouse.
30 days
To wait
Yes.
30
for that
days,
to
right.
happen. So y'all went back, and
Yes.
y'all went right before all the coronavirus
Oh,
thing
yeah.
hit. And
Yes.
Yes,
just
it
beginning
was
to come
starting.
around. People
Yes,
were-
when we were flying, and people were like, "Are you nervous about that?" We
Yeah.
had already seen some
A
people.
few people were wearing masks in the
and
airports and
doing
things.
that, and here we are going out of the country
Yeah.
for a third time with all this going
Yeah.
on, and went back in February to finalize everything and to get everything, all the paperwork
All
finalized, and
together.
everything, and bring him home. And
so
come
y'all
back.
brought him home at the end of February this
February
past year,
26th.
2020.
26, yep.
Mhm.
and he's been part of your family ever since. And
Yep.
and Vadim, what was that like for you? What did that make you feel like to know that Shannon and Sarah had picked you to be a part of their family?
I don't know. I guess I just got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I think.
We got lucky.
Yeah.
We're the lucky ones.
That's right.
Well, it's kind of interesting. The Word of God talks about us being adopted into God's
Yes.
family, and how
Mhm.
God has chosen us, and
Mhm.
that's why these stories are so beautiful, because they do reflect kind of God's love for us, and how He's chosen us and picked us and welcomed us into His family, and that's what we see here. And it's a powerful story, and it's just so wonderful to see how y'all have welcomed both of these fine young men into your lives, and how they've just become such a central part of your
Yeah.
day-to-day lives.
Sure now.
Yeah.
Lots of adventure.
Yeah.
Adventure
Yeah.
continues.
So speak to us. There might be a family out there. Y'all heard someone speak at a church, and then you got in through Facebook in touch with somebody in Chicago, and you saw their story of adoption, and that just sparked an interest. And somebody listening today, this might be sparking an interest in their hearts and lives. So speak to them about how to proceed if that's something that they're interested in. Don't be afraid to move forward.
Don't be
Right.
fearful. That's my
Right,
message. is Don't,
right.
don't let
Lots
fear.
of prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of prayer, for
But
sure.
don't let
Just-
fear stop you from stepping into what God has for you.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is. It's a step of faith, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And you don't know what the outcome's going to be, but if God's leading you there, you can expect some pretty good blessings, huh?
Sure.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Along the way.
Yeah, well, Vadim, do you want to say anything else to our listeners?
He wants
Leave
to do
them
a
with-
dance.
He wants to do a dance. Yeah.
What do you want to say? Sure.
So, like, when I came the second time, it was summertime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was summertime, and it was really fun. So, we went to, like, a swimming pool there, and then we was, like, we were, like, swimming there. It was close to our, like, apartment, and
Our
our
house.
a house.
Mhm.
We had a house that was, like, pretty small, but it was
Huh?
good. It had, like, a lot of rooms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we went like swimming there, and we had so much fun when we were going back to home because we used to race. When Mama and Daddy they used to race each other in the car. So
In the
it
neighborhood.
was
pool.
really fun.
Very
Yeah.
cool, yeah.
So then we like it was really deep there and stuff, and there was like a lot of kids, and we used to play there with like and then I had a lot like friends.
Yeah,
As I
lots
had
of
his
fun.
friends.
Taught him how to ride a bicycle.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun.
That
Yeah,
was-
I like wrecked like 40 times probably. First time when I was riding it, and then the next day he came back from work and I could have just ride it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yeah.
So have you really developed a taste for American food, and what's your favorite food to eat now?
First time like the plain food, it was not that good because it was like I get like sick always when I eat plain
Yeah.
food. But when I'm like going down, like
What Gammy's food?
yeah, like my grandma's food, it's really good. Like
Very
I
good.
told her she needs to make a restaurant, but she
Or a
doesn't
food
want
truck.
to.
How
Yeah.
about
Tell her to
that?
make
How
a-
about that?
So
Get a food
she's
truck.
like a professional cooker. She's really good cooking.
Mhm.
So like I like mashed potatoes and stuff that she cooks and stuff. It's really good. And then she cooks.
He's gained like 40 pounds since February. He's got tall and big and
Yes.
strong. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
He loves
that's-
American food.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, it's been such a pleasure to have y'all here with us for these several programs, and thank you so much for sharing your story, and thank you so much for just having the courage to step out in faith. And I think for all of us, this can be an encouragement to us to have that same courage. And I think really living the Christian life is the most courageous thing that we can do, because we're having to come up against all kinds of obstacles. We're swimming against the currents of this world. But we have Christ living in us, and we have the love of God that has been poured into our hearts, things that can empower us to move upstream and to experience the full blessings of what this eternal life is all about. And certainly with Maxim and Vadim, y'all have experienced incredible love and joy, and thank you for sharing that with us through Basic Gospel. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.